Welcome to Trek Table, your live stream ritual.
Holding Trek space for
Black, Indigenous, Brown, women of color,
queer or otherwise,
and our allies.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello, and welcome to the Trek Table, your Friday weekly podcast holding Trek space. As we just heard from our previous panel, Black, Indigenous, Brown, women of color, queer or otherwise, and our allies. What's up, and welcome to the Geekish Network. I'm your host, Dayla, and today I am holding Trek space for all the alls between the two binary black holes and the gravitational pull of things.
And I am your co-host, Claudia, and today I'm holding Trek space for the beginning of the end.
Hi, I'm one of your co-hosts, Courtney, and today I am holding Trek space For everything that's going on with Michael Burnham and the challenges that she has had to battle this season. And I'm ready to see her get what's hers.
Yes, yes. And I'm your co-host, Maya Mama, and today I'm holding Trek Space for Space Heists. I love space heists. They're my favorite.
Hello, hello. What's up? I am your guest, Lulu Matute, and today I'm holding Trek Space for Cosmic Synchronicities.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, awesome. Well, welcome to the Trek Table. We start with acknowledging that our teams for Trek Table are on the unceded lands of the Tongva, the Chumash, the Quiche, Ohlone, Puyallup, Powhahitakons. Yes, I got it, peoples. We are grateful to the indigenous stewards of these lands, the ancestors who have come before, and those who are here now, and those who have yet to come. I invite our listeners and viewers to be an acknowledgement of the lands that you are on. And let's just take a deep breath. In and out.
All of our music for the Trek Table is lovingly supported by our favorite Chicanx rock band, Quetzal. Follow them at Quetzal Music on Instagram and see our show notes or the chat for a link to their merchandise and more.
Yes, yes. And we want to welcome everybody to episode 55 of the Trek Table. Woohoo! The magic of the five. I want to say thanks for showing up for this conversation with women of color as we dive headfirst into episode 509, Lagrange Point. We want to just give you a warning. If you're looking for an unspoiled Discovery experience, we just want to say pause us, go watch your episode, and then come back because the spoiler zone is in full effect. We will talk about not only this whole season of Discovery, probably all past seasons of Discovery, and knowing that that's amazing Trek Table assembled, what we're also going to be talking about is a lot of different Star Trek. So there's no general spoilers for Star Trek, because we like to talk about all the alls.
We are so glad that you're joining this Black, Indigenous, Women of Color Trek conversation. Hello and welcome so that we can build with each other. How are you entering this conversation as a Star Trek fan? Are you Star Trek curious? Are you a Star Trek newbie or an OG Trekkie? You come from a Star Trekking family, Star Trek femme, Trek zaddy, Trek baby? Let us know in the chat.
Yes, and on today's episode of Trek Table 55, we're going to dive deep into looking at this episode 509, Lagrange Point, the penultimate episode of this season, also the penultimate episode of this series. This episode was written by M. Sean Cochran and Ari Friedman, folks who've written for the show before. And of course, welcomes back director Jonathan Frakes. Here at the Trek Table, we want to welcome back all of our amazing co-hosts and our guests today. Welcome back, Claudia, Courtney. Hi, Maya Mama. We haven't seen you in a minute. Welcome back. We're so happy. And I'm super excited to welcome back Lulu Matute to the Trek Table. New to the Geekish Network, but certainly not new to this table. So we want to welcome you back. We've been holding your seat for you. Super excited for us to jump into some Star Trek opinions together. We're going to explore this episode today in a couple of different ways, right? We're going to look at, we're going to have a popcorn recap just so we can get clear on the plot of what happened during the show. Last week, I learned something. The library didn't blow up, so popcorn recap always helps. Claudia is also here with some Trek Table questions. We've got a couple of those. Those are great. Maya Mama's here to talk with us about design. There's a lot of different things going on in this episode that we'll jump into. Then we'll round that bend into thematics as we like to kind of pull it all together, explore the themes of the show. We'll also talk a little bit about a signal boost. We got a great resource to amplify today. Always have final thoughts, and then we like to end the show in gratitude. We want to welcome everybody here assembled to the Trek Table, as well as our Geekish Network chat. What's up to folks in the chat? So great to see you. Welcome, Project Aware. So happy to see y'all. And we want to just kind of welcome people, and part of our practice is to go ahead and check in. So I want to invite, we're going to go around the table. Would love folks to check in with your name, your pronouns, your access check-in, and how you identify as a Star Trek fan. Courtney, I know you've been doing this with us a couple of weeks now, and I'm wondering if you could go first for us today.
For sure. Yes, I'm Courtney, and my pronouns are she, her. And gosh, my access needs are I really need to fold my laundry, and I'm going to get that done with the season finale of something. Um, and I identify as a native Trekkian because I feel like I've seen enough Star Trek shows that I can consider myself a native, but I am also like, celestially open and welcoming. I am currently sitting here in my Star Trek visor with is it Lower Decks? This is Lower Decks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just want to
That
confirm
is,
before I
yes.
like say something that's not true. Sitting here with Lower Decks behind me and my Harry Potter shirt. So yes, I welcome all.
Yay. Welcome, Courtney. So glad that you're here today. Thank you so much. Claudia, I'm going to come to you. Can I invite you to check in?
Hey, hello there. I'm Claudia. Pronouns are they, theirs, also she, her. Visual description, I'm an African American woman wearing a Star Trek t-shirt and sitting on the bridge of the original Star Trek. I think I'm where Spock usually is. My access check-in is that I got some allergies going on, so you might see me reach into my bridge to grab a tissue. That might happen. I come from a generational Star Trekking family, just generations of Star Trek lovers. But I myself, I'm poly sci-fi fantasy. I'm a fan of many, many different genres. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and welcome. So happy to have you here, Claudia. I want to also welcome back to the show, Maya Mama. Can I invite you to check in?
Yes. Well, I'm Maya Mama. I use she, her pronouns. Visual description. I am a black woman. I'm wearing a disco t-shirt with a ripped neckline. I was trying to go for a Terran type of look. I have big red hair, blue and purple eye makeup, and a shiny red lip. My background is the bridge of the Enterprise D. And I come from a generational Star Trek family. I'd say that I'm mostly non-hierarchical poly sci-fi, but also anything that Johnny Frakes does, I'm gonna be a fan of probably.
Mhm. Yes, yes. And as you said, you were going for a Terran look. I was like, oh, is that why you were tearing the top of your shirt? So sorry.
That's what I thought. That's what I literally thought when you said you're going to Karen. I was like, oh, okay. And then I realized, oh.
We're gonna go all over the place today at this Trek table. I love it. I'm so excited. Welcome back, Maya Mama. So happy to have you here. In all the things. So yes, and yes, Johnny Frakes. I'm super excited. As I was saying earlier in the show, Trek Table's been here on the Geekish Network. Now we're just counting. This is our 10th show on the network. We're super excited. And for the first time, Lulu Matute is joining us. Lulu's been part of the Trek Table in our previous iterations. We're so happy to have you join us. And welcome to the Geekish Network. For folks who may not know, Lulu Matute is based in the California Bay Area, originally from the west side of Chicago by way of Honduras. They have the honor of coordinating the School of the Americas Watch, SOAW, and they also serve in a capacity as an emergency medical technician and search and rescue specialist, volunteering with the American Red Cross's international services and humanitarian aid groups on the southern U.S., northern Mexico borderlands. Welcome, Lulu. So happy to have you here. Can I invite you to check in?
Hey, hey. Yes, Lulu Matute. My pronouns are she, her, Asia. All my access needs are met. However, there are little flying bugs around me. So if you see me swatting, I am kung fuing these fools out of my space. I am wearing a baseball cap, backwards baseball cap, some dark frame sunglasses, and a Sonoran Desert Toad shirt. Might be able to see a yin yang on my sleeve. And the Sonoran Desert Toad is the natural emitter of 5-MeO-DMT. So shout out to any and all psychonauts out there in the ether.
Yes, yes. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Ooh, yeah, the Sonoran Toad. I didn't know. So now I know. Love it so much. Friends in the chat, we invite you to check in as well. It'd be great to know who's there, how you identify as a Star Trek fan. Always super great to welcome anybody as a Star Trek fan, whether you be a newbie or a generational Trekkie or techie. We're so happy to have you all here. Okay, so really quick for me, I'm Dela. My pronouns are she, he, they, and Dela. Visually, I'm a mixed Filipinx person with black hair. I'm wearing a shirt that you can't really see, but it's my Star Trek 4 shirt that I really, really love. So it's the whales. And in my background, there's a little mug of book Holding a Grudge, the Queen, and a little bit of, I don't think she's on screen right now, but I do have a Borg Hello Kitty. So
There.
I bring all those things with me. I'm a minutia Trek loving head. I love the minutia in Star Trek and kind of going down the rabbit holes. On the whole, though, I identify as a poly sci-fi, poly celestial person because I love all the stars, including Farscape and Firefly. So that's super fun. And I would say that really, even though I'm poly, my primary science fiction relationship right now is with Star Trek Discovery. I love me some Michael Burnham. I'm kind of in deep denial that we're about to end this series, but I'm here now for the goodness and the joy that is happening. So super excited to be here. And my access check-in is, yeah, I just might be drinking a little off and on while we're in the show. I'm a little bit thirsty today and it's hot in the room where I'm at. So super excited to be here.
Well, that
Hey,
brings us to
Dela,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
that?
I'm so sorry to cut you off. I don't think I introduced my sci-fi relationship, and I just wanted to say I'm a newbie, and I was introduced to Star Trek because of this podcast. So shout out to y'all. You put me on to Star Trek and
Come on.
Discovery. Through Discovery was my entry point, and you also put me on to Quetzal the band. So thank y'all. Sorry to cut you off, Cloud.
I love
That was
Quetzal
worth
too.
it. That was necessary. Thank you for that. Now we're going to do our final business before we jump into the fun discussion, and we want to name our Trek table agreements.
Mhm. Welcome to all who enter. Whether you're a newbie like Lulu and you've met Star Trek through us, or you were raised in a trekking family, welcome. We want to build this space together.
Whether you use Trek Table as your nerdy exploration or as part of your self-care ritual, Trek Table is a weekly space to put down the world for a second and come into Trek space.
This is a space for Black, Brown, Indigenous, femmes of color to be a fan, a geek, a nerd, and explore the vastness of the Star Trek multiverse.
Trek Table is also a place for allies to come, engage, and explore as well. This is an opportunity for our allies to hold space and focus on insights, perspectives, and experiences that we may not be familiar with.
And now that we are all here, we remind you that we seek to build an environment of mutual respect and listening. We understand we're going to disagree, and that's actually part of the fun, but there's enough conflict happening out there in the world, so let's keep our phasers on stun.
Yes, I love that you have a phaser, Claudia. So we want to invite everybody to breathe in all those agreements. Let's go ahead and take a breath in and exhale.
All right, now that brings us to the Trek table questions posed to our Trek table assembled here and to everybody who is in the Trek table YouTube channel chat. Here's the question. So there was a special hint that was given to Michael Burnham, so she would be able to figure out the final clue, to figure out the progenitor machine, right? And the clue was build the shape of the one between the many. Now, Tilly thinks that's esoteric, but I know exactly what it means, and I know you do too. So come back and let me know what you think that means. All guesses welcome. Welcome back with Trek Table question number 1. Here's the question. What does build the shape of the one between the many? What could that mean? What do we guess it's going to mean? I think it might be if you want to build the shape of the one between the many, it might be that like maybe they're going to be flipping off the whole universe. That's my guess. 800 years of secret keeping for that joke. That's what I think they did. Maya, Mama, what do you think build the shape of the one between the many? What could that mean?
I think it means a bridge.
A bridge? Oh,
The shape
one.
between the one and the many, so that you got a bridge. I don't know.
Oh, that's
I
a good
don't
guess.
know.
That's really good. That's better than what I said. Oh, go ahead,
Yours
Courtney,
is
please.
really good, though,
No,
Claudia.
no. When it's so interesting, like, because I am like an audio learner at times, and hearing you say it, I understood what you meant. But when originally I thought you meant a bridge, like the deck of one of the spaceships.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, wow,
Hey,
they were like psychically creating Starfleet. But no, that's not
totally.
but you actually made it better.
Courtney, what do you think built the shape of the one between the many? What could that mean? What do you think?
Initially the cynic in me thought that they were being funny and had jokes and that we're building a cube and really meant the Borg. Um,
Oh, wouldn't that be a twist? That would be a twist.
but because they were like, ha ha, y'all thought we were good, but really we
Right.
was playing here. But no, my real answer, I don't know, a heart. The shape of
Aw.
the one, one between what's being the
Oh, I
many.
like that.
Nice. Okay, you're coming up with such
Nice.
great answers. I love this. Lulu, what do you think? Build the shape of the one between the many. What could that mean?
I have no idea what the cryptic phrase is actually means, what the intention behind it is, but I love where you are all going with it. Um, it's mad juicy. It's a good cryptic message clue here. I think in our version of the multiverse, the closest thing that I can get to it or imagine, it's maybe the endless God level results of like opening the flower of life.
Ooh, I love how Lulu's like, I have no idea. I don't know, but maybe this truth bomb. Okay, maybe that. That sounds good. I'm excited. Also, like, could we have been seeing that in the opening credits? I don't know. Dayla,
Mm.
what do you think build the shape of the one between the many? What could that mean?
I also had I don't know, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, maybe they're like calling all the synchronized swimming ladies together so that they can swim together in the ethereal pool of the universe's juices. I don't know. But now as we have this conversation,
Good.
I'm like, oh, it makes me think about when they went to put the key in when they went to put the assembled pieces as a circular item into the shuttley thing. You saw it wasn't just a hole, it actually had other demarcations in it that matched up to the different pieces of the progenitor tech.
Yeah.
So it just, yeah. So I would just, I think I'm flashing around that and just curious about, yeah, I feel like y'all have better answers. So I'm
But
observing, but
that's good.
Well,
But-
go my mama, please.
Well, I was just gonna say that's really good because they did take a bunch of pieces. They
mm,
took a many
Right,
and
right.
made it into one, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
And it is in the
Also-
opener. Sorry.
Also,
Yup.
I'm thinking about how this is all based on that original Star Trek TNG episode. That's all about how, like, genetically we're connected with each other. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Like, are they trying to get us to like remake the progenitors? Like, take all, well, it says the shape of the one between the many. Like, do you take like a little bit of Klingon and a little bit of human and all the people who came from these progenitors, and you can make a new
Take
progenitor?
it all about and do the space hokey pokey.
You know exactly. That's what it's all about. And that brings us to the end of Trek Table question number 1.
And with that song Matanzas by the band Quetzal, we know that it's time for our version of how to recap a show. We call it Popcorn Recap. The game is simple. We've collectively have 2.5 minutes to try to tell chunklets of plot along the major storylines of this week's show. We have almost made it, and then we have often not. Today, we're just going to do our best. We're going to tell this story. We're super excited. All right, Rodney, let's go ahead and put that timer up. Everybody take your breath. We do a lot of breathing on this show. I love it. All right. They're stretching. If you're listening to the podcast, there's a lot of stretching happening. All right, Trek Table, let's get ready. Let's go. Let's recap episode 509, Lagrange Point.
So we see a whole ass flower plant in a pot. That's how in love Saru and Tarina are. President Tarina tells Ambassador Saru that Discovery has encountered the Breen. President Rillick informs them that Primarch Tahal is headed towards Discovery as they try to get to the progenitor's technology.
Saru, meanwhile, calls Michael Kim Possible and gives her the sitch because, she's walking through the bridge like, hey, what's going on? I just need to know, like, tell me what's happening. So then all of a sudden she lets him know, like, yeah, we're going to get this done, but I'm still going to make it in time for that wedding. Okay. So then she lets First Officer Renard know about Primarch Tahal, who he had a bad history with.
The jump drive is broken. Book is wounded, but he's still helping with repairs, no days off. Stamets leaps them into the afternoon dusk of a pair of binary black holes. Oh, here we go. Tilly does math that helps them escape, but just barely.
And then the cheery bridge crew, they're so happy. And they're like, oh, I see the clue. It's like a barrel in between the black holes. It's like the size of a shuttle. But oh no, Maul's dreadnought flies in, then tractor beams it away before a cloaked Discovery can even get to it. Good news, Breen don't even know they're there, though.
Yes, yes. And the crew is looking at this hollow of an object and revels in Michael's special hint. Build the shape of the one between the many. It's the only advantage if they can get it, if they can get all this tech back from the Breen.
So then Burnham plans to sneak in with 2 teams on the Breen dreadnoughts through a gap in the exhaust port. So they have to get the shield down and put transporter locks near the object to beam it to Discovery. Alpha team goes to the bridge and Bravo team goes to the shuttle bay to secure the structure.
It's going to be hard because Breen computers are very complicated. Big moment. Ensign Adira is coming in with the away team Bravo because they have studied and they can do math faster than Stamets. Tilly recommends Adira for the mission despite Stamets' concern.
On the Breen ship, the object has a glowing entrance. Maul gives the soldier a key to enter it and activate it. The soldier walks in and disappears through an extra dimensional barrier. This will require some study. We don't know what we're dealing with just yet. Maul puts Lacat's body in a portable pattern buffer to preserve it.
And then Reese and Adira and Book and Michael, they all fly into the Breen ship, and they're about to explode. The ship's gonna explode, but then they have to beam into a section. But oh no, there's 2 Breen shoulders. But luckily, Michael uses her exobiologist training, and she bluffs their way through.
I'm just gonna acknowledge we're at time, but we're gonna finish out this episode.
Yeah.
So many good things because there's so many good things in these episodes. All right. Meanwhile, back at Starfleet, President Rillick is sending the Breen messages, trying not to sound desperate, but she totally sounds desperate. They're not responding. Saru offers to fly in to force Primarch Tahal to alter her course or to stop and talk. It could be a suicide mission. His fiance President Trina's not happy and he's like, oh babe, don't worry about me. And she's like, I wasn't worried about you. I was worried you weren't going to step up and actually do this mission.
Ray won't sit in the captain's chair. The bridge crew notice. Tilly gives him a pep talk. He says Tilly is smart as hell and he wouldn't kill her unless she keeps giving him warm and fuzzy. Crew bonding.
Meanwhile, Michael took this dangerous mission aside to profess her real feelings to Book. And as they are dressed up like Breen officers. And she reveals that in the archive of the Mindscape, he was there and she discovered all these things about their relationship. She felt like a failure, so that's why she turned away. And then Book says, I felt like a failure too, so that's why I turned away. But he apologizes and she apologizes, and now they almost together.
Perfect timing for such a loaded conversation. Book and Michael beat up 2 Brim guards and break into the secure section.
And then Maul has the Breen send their most trusted soldier into that structure with a rope on him, right? But then he gets sucked in and they can't pull him out with a rope. So then the Breen put up a quarantine field, which is going to make it so much harder for them to steal everything. So Michael has to hack into it. So then Book has to distract everybody. So he's like flirting with the Breen card to do a distraction.
Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, Maul is on her way to the shuttle bay. She puts it in full lockdown, and is upset and about the missing guards. Raynor's trying to figure out how to help, so he decides to message the Breen to buy time while telling Maul that Michael's dead. That's why she's not here, and that, oh, by the way, Primarch Tahal's coming, and she's gonna bring her big old dreadnought. So we can help you if you surrender and you give us the tech. And she's like, Maul's like, no, I'm good. And she goes, she leaves the bridge actually to go run to the shuttle bay with her soldiers.
So then Maul stops Michael and Book just before they're about to beam the structure off the ship. Michael speaks in code to Raynor and gives him the idea that Discovery should rip through the containment bay and beam them out. I don't know how. Sorry. Colbert is worried, but Stamets is confident he can do it. He's
That
like, it's
doesn't
fine.
lie.
It's fine.
Right, because Ray told her he knew the secretly she was saying, remember that one time when I rode the back of the spaceship and like all things are happening? I know you know what I mean. And so Mom, meanwhile, reads through that like shady coded message and realizes the Discovery is what they have done and worries that they're going to beam away the progenitor structure. So she goes down there and she's like, let me take that from you and remove the mask because I know who you are. Yeah, you look pretty good for being dead. Girl, look good. So the Breen ally tries to stop her. Book shoots him. Maul runs into the structure, and Michael runs in after her because she was like, "Wait, no, that wasn't the plan." So the rest of the team gets beamed onto Discovery, and Book had a full wardrobe change mid-transport. And the structure explodes in space and is in portal in between the wormholes. There is no sign of Maul or Michael.
Where did they go? Bernard gives the speech about how failure is not an option and they will save Michael. They're getting their captain back. He ends with, let's do this. And finally stops pacing around and sits in the captain's chair.
And that was Popcorn Recap.
Welcome to Discovery Design. We have seen some beautiful and amazing design elements in this episode of Star Trek Discovery. So I want to talk about it. Courtney, were there any design elements, any images within this episode that really like props, ships, anything, lighting that like really struck you in this?
Yes. So the moment when, Ray figured out what Michael's plan was, what she wanted him to do, and like Stamets is like showing like, okay, so if we do this one thing and the one thing and the one thing, then the one thing should work. And the little ship has like one shot, got his Alexander Hamilton, not gonna lose my shot, throwing away my shot. When that ship comes in and you see like the outline from the Breen perspective, and like the ship is coming in, I thought that was really cool.
Gosh, they've been making some really, really beautiful big space images. Now I had to look up some science because a Lagrange point is a real thing. It means that it's the location between two gravimetral objects. It's that point where they can balance. And that's what they were trying to find, is that balance between, because either one way or the other is doom for them all. But I just thought it was really pretty, honestly, because black holes are really pretty, and the more we know about black holes, the better the designs are. And also I love the little pattern buffer because it was like having like a stick drive of a person. And then it made me think of Dr. Mbanga on the Enterprise on Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Those were just, I mean, I love those. Now, Lulu, now you saw some wonderful things, and I want to hear about what you think of some of the design elements, some things that really struck you. Yeah, okay, that's it.
Right on. Aren't we all trying to find that balance? That is all our journey. Two things wardrobe related, design, but wardrobe. Saru's heelless heels. Ooh, those would fly.
Mm.
I mean, calf
Mhm.
season, baby, like summer
Mm.
ready with those. But also, did he need heels? Like he's already pretty high up there. Like we need to get you some flats.
For sure.
Calm down, Daddy. We need flats. I thought the green suits were really cool. They were just sharp, slick. Like I love the tech. Just those shots where we're very intimate, all up in their faces, but seeing the conversations and the back and forth between Michael and Book, and just how the tech functions, that immersive augmented reality, it was just so cool. I thought they were fly. I love the green look. And I went down a rabbit hole of fandom and wanted to see the previous iterations of these suits. Yeah, by far these are the hottest ones in season for sure.
Oh yeah,
Can
definitely.
I jump
Yes.
in real quick too? Because
Yes.
I made a
Yeah.
mistake last episode. I was like, yo, the Breen, they're totally based off Boba Fett. They're not based off Boba Fett. They're based off of Leia. Princess Leia was in like a bounty hunter costume, and
Yes.
that's what they're ripping off. So it's still a Star Wars reference. It was just a different Star Wars reference.
When she goes to release Han Solo from the Carbonite.
Yeah, she's
Oh
got it.
yeah. And she does that.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh,
sorry.
Claudia, say more. No, say more. I want to hear more about what you were seeing. Tell me more.
Okay, well, let me just like list off all the design things that I like, because at first I had to be like, oh, I made a mistake. So I said what my mistake was. I just love the flower arrangements that Saru is doing. Who knew that I would be like this future show based in like the future and it's in outer space? And I'm just like, I love the flower arrangements. I want to have Saru's like housing. Like, did you see the mist? It feels pleasant. Like my skin would be really healthy wherever he's living. I just like it a lot. I love that the space barrel was you couldn't scan it because it was full of duotronium or duotronium. All I know is that Star Trek has consistency. It has words where it's just like, oh, you can't scan through that. I have heard them talk about that substance metal so many times, and I love Star Trek for the consistency.
Like a deadlock seal.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful thing.
Exactly. Thank you for that Doctor Who reference. I thought the helmet view from the camera. Oh my gosh, helmet view is awesome, and I'm mad because this is like what, like the second to last episode. I want more helmet. I want to see more views from a helmet, and like the Breen helmets are weird looking, cool. And then you had that shot that had three faces, and they all said, "Aye, Captain," and that was super cool. All right, can I list two more things? I know I'm talking a lot. All right, so just two more things. The science division costume change that Michael Burnham did, where she's just like, "Oh, I got to change my uniform." Boop, boop. I was like, "Okay, that's hot. That's hot. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool." And then the keyhole structure with the light coming out and the dimensional barrier and like the entire like the big gigantic barrel thing that was the structure that they have to go inside of to put the majigger in. It low-key reminded me of Cronenberg's The Fly. You know, like the thing that Jeff Goldblum went into to get I was like, oh, that looks like they might have used the same prop. Like they were like, yo, Cronenberg, you still got that barrel that you used to move Jeff Goldblum? We'd like to use it for Star Trek Discovery. But I liked it a lot. And those were all of the Discovery design things that I thought were cool.
Claudia, you saw a lot.
I did.
Dayla, I would like to move to you. So, what are some of the design elements, clothing, props, things that just made you go, ooh, let's talk about this?
For sure, a lot of things that folks have already said, yes, resonating hard and on. And I want to go, so just to say like the pattern buffer piece, like it reminded me of Discovery season 4 when Zora was starting to articulate herself and Michael had to put on her spacesuit and the rest of the crew had to go into the pattern buffers together, and they had this like Noah's Ark moment where people would like connect to each other and then like jump into the pattern buffer because of what was happening with Discovery. Everybody emerged out of it, but yes, this pattern, I just appreciate in watching so many different kinds of Star Trek, watching the different things, repetition, as Claudia was saying, kind of continue to emerge. So this is not the first time Disco's used pattern buffer, but this is a way different way than they did before. And it does, I agree with you, Maya Mama, it does ring back to Mbenga's pattern buffer use for his daughter. Did his daughter get out? Did she ever?
Yeah, she's with Deborah, the Nebula. She's fine. She had a
Oh, okay.
great life. And has a great life. She lives with a Nebula named Deborah.
Okay. I need to rewatch that episode. The last thing, ditto on all the Breen stuff. I love the close-up shots, but I realized I was trying to track in their Breen suits who was who. Like even Michael in books, like costume,
yeah.
like height difference. At one point, I was like, you
Yeah.
can't. Who is that? Who's fighting? I don't know. They all look the same. Like, so I was like, oh, maybe I need to nerd out and rewatch a couple more times. So there's that. And the last thing I would say is ditto on all the Saru and Tarina. Have we all noticed how puffy and beautiful Serena's like? She's just got like these yoked kind of cloaks and like the sleeves are a little bit puffy and she's always in these elegant outfits. And I definitely felt like her Welcome Home Saru outfit was super beautiful. And then I noticed like Saru had a different kind of sculpted collar, like his ambassador outfit just has like a little bit more whoosh to it. I don't know how else to describe it. And so I was just even appreciating just like how beautiful they are as a couple and just like this, oh, look at them in the interior of Starfleet and the Federation and like the way that their fashion reflects that. So
It
I also
definitely seemed like they dressed for each other, right?
yes.
Like they dressed up for each
Mhm.
other.
Like yeah, in her and then it's just his cute little like I could tell by your mannerisms and by the hustle of everybody that something must be going on. Like what's going on, dear? So just really watching them navigate their new roles with each other and yeah. So just design wise I just felt just the contrast also between the brightness of Starfleet headquarters versus the way in which we get all of that, darker lighting with green and yellow accents, and the black backgrounds that happen on the Breen ship. So just witnessing all those things together was pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, everyone, that was Disco Design.
And that brings us to our final Trek Table question for this episode of Trek Table. Who's your favorite disco couple, past or present? Like we're coming towards the end of this entire journey with so many amazing seasons. So you could pick from any season, but here's the deal. Headcanon is approved. You could be shipping anybody you want to ship. So let me know who's your favorite disco couple. Maybe it's couple of couples.
Mira que regresa el maldito. Viene con las manos llenitas de piedra que no quiere arrojar.
Welcome back from Trek Table question number 2. Who is your favorite Discovery couple, past or present? Headcanon is approved. I'm going to go with Maya, then I'm probably going to go with Courtney, then I'm probably going to go with Lula. I'm going to popcorn. Maya Mama, favorite, just give me one. We might do round robins.
Okay, my favorite problematic coupling is always going to be Michael and Ash Tyler. Because like it's just like, I mean, and I do want to be clear, it's not okay. It's not okay. This is not an aspirational love.
Best for kiss.
I am in love with your it's a problematic couple. Oh, I like that. I like that. All right, I'm gonna go.
I was gonna say also Space Daddies, Owen Detmer, and
come on, yes,
this is a new one.
This is why I was gonna stop you because I wanted to do round robin because I feel like everybody's gonna want to say some of these. So I'm gonna go
Okay,
around.
go.
Like, just say one. Lulu, come on, favorite space couple, disco couple.
Yeah, I'm limited in my Star Trek experience, but thus far with Discovery, I'm gonna go, you already know, Saru and Serena. Just so tender. And I mean, I loved it so much. I don't know if you can see it, but no, you can't see it. I had to save that tender hug. Little moment. You can't see it in my phone. But
Okay,
I loved it so much. I'm like aspirational love right there. Boom.
For our audience members in the future listening to the podcast, that was a photo on the screen of Lulu's phone of Trina just snuggled up to Saru's chest. And yes. Okay.
Tender love.
Okay. I'm gonna say this. I was rooting for Adira and Gray. I really liked
Mhm.
them because, like, I was like, low key, I was like, oh, this is unhealthy. Because you know how you get involved with someone a little too fast because you both need an apartment, so you move in together too quick. It felt a little like that with their relationship, but I thought that they were like growing into it and making it work. I love how they also broke up adult style, so they're like, oh yeah, we're uncoupled, but we're still really good friends. And I'm like, y'all are so from the future. I love it. Hey, Dayla,
Mhm.
Discovery couple.
For
Which one do you love?
For sure. I am gonna say because others have been named. I mean, okay, to my mama's yes, love to the Ash Tyler, but I love Burnham and Book, and I really want them to get back together.
You're right. You're right. That's
Mhm.
what I want for her too.
For sure. For sure.
Courtney, how about you? Favorite space couple?
Well, mine is more of a pair because I feel like, I'm bringing in some Vin Diesel right here, but it's all about family. And so I'm always going back to the root of it with Spock and Michael Burnham because
Mm.
that relationship was the real deal. It helped shape both of them for the better. So
Mhm.
I'm going with that. I'm going with family.
I love that. I also put down a couple that was not a romantic coupling. I love Tilly and her favorite mushroom friend in the mushroom dimension. I know I'm not saying it
Yes,
right.
May.
yes.
May is
Mate.
the
Yeah. I wanted to see more of that. I wanted some callbacks. I wanted them to have to get help from that person and have them come back. I like their relationship.
Mhm.
Okay, now
Would
free
like to
for
say,
all. Oh wait, go ahead, please.
Can I
I
share?
would
Oh,
like to
go ahead.
say I would like someone to go and search for a missing couple, Awosakun and Detmer. If somebody could put out a bolo
Mhm.
or
Oh no, I have info on that. I
Where'd
have
they
info
go?
Yeah.
on that.
What's the
So
info?
and I was actually and I
Rodney
was
said
raising
look in
my
the chat.
book and grudge. Okay, first
Jayla,
Owo
please.
and Detmer. Also in the chat, friends in the chat were also like, "What about Owo and Detmer? Where are they? Why are they gone?" So this season they've been gone because both those actors, as well as the actor who plays Bryce, they got cast on other shows. They've been able to take advantage of Discovery, leveraging their visibility, and now they're too busy to be on the show. So that's why we haven't seen them. That's why they've been pumping the new cast. And on the Trek Table Instagram today, I amplified a story from somebody in the company. They made a cute little reel of the new bridge crew, and it's to the theme music, I think, from Full House. So that's a fun little thing. So and we can add we'll find a way to link that in the chat. But so yeah, that's where Owo and Detmer are in the external world. But yeah, I miss them so hard this season. Like ugh.
I'm glad they're working. They should have made them series regulars, so I can't really be mad
And
at them.
and
Mhm.
Keep it
and
up.
I gotta say this, I am loving the two new bridge crew folks who are like driving the ship. I don't know what that job is called,
Mhm.
being a pilot. I'm the pilot. That's what
Flight
they're.
control officer is what they're called, or the
Thank you.
con officer. And yeah.
All
Oh,
right, so
what's
we've
the
got the
cons?
con and flight control. I have been enjoying the two new characters, but I have been noticing, oh, they wrote this so it would be vibing between Detmer and Owo. I was like, oh, this feels like their dynamic. I love these two new characters, though. I really enjoy them a lot. And
Mhm.
I'm very happy for the actors getting extra work. But yeah, we're mad. We want everybody on Star Trek all the time. Star Trek forever, nothing but Star Trek. Any last couples that we want to shout out
New Spock and new Kirk
Were
together?
they in this one?
specifically. Yes.
From
Oh, I
Oh,
just mean you said, oh, disco couple. Well, Spock was there. Spock
Mhm.
was there,
yeah.
Spock
and
was there.
That's a
and
strange new world ship. You're
Kirk was
doing a
in a
strange new world
Kirk
ship.
was there. I bet he was at the battle with
of
for
the
control.
binary stars. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Um,
or
um,
binary
I,
stars.
I,
He's
I,
there.
I'm gonna do a final shout out for our favorite space daddies. They are married.
Mhm.
We love that for them. They have like a toothbrush caddy in outer space. It's
Mhm.
so cute,
Mhm.
y'all. We have a good time talking about Star Trek Discovery. We're gonna miss it when it's gone, and we have really enjoyed all of the fun relationships that we've gotten to witness. And that was Trek Table Question on number 2.
Yes, 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 and we are back with that Trek table question was so great. I want to make sure Rodney, our technical director, also said his favorite couple was Book and Grudge. So it got mixed in there with where Oo and Detmer.
That's
So I
the best answer, though.
She is a queen.
She is. She's also a carnivore, but she is a queen. Um, all right, so we're in the thematics part of the show, and obviously we're having a great time today. We've been talking about different parts of this episode, but in thematics, we do like to try to kind of braid some of these conversations together. And in Discovery Design, Maya Mama, you brought up the definition of the Lagrange point, and I too looked it up and was thinking about it as this this position in space where the gravitational force of two bodies are pulling at the thing in the middle. And my highfalutin idea at the top of this segment is just to think about, it feels like what I've been feeling this last couple episodes with Discovery, like it's being pulled between the kind of Discovery that the showrunners have been building for us, and the way that I have fallen in love with this show, as well as like the centrifugal force or the gravity force of, but this is where Star Trek is trying to go, and they're trying to redefine Trek. And so I feel like this season, this season, this was gonna be my final thought, but I feel like it's helpful here. Like, I feel like last season would have been a better way to end this show. But I get that they didn't know that when they made the things. And I feel like this season, I've enjoyed this new adventure. I've heard the actors talk about how they took a different direction and they were kind of trying to jump into stuff. I think it's interesting. So I just have been feeling the Lagrange point between the disco that I fall in love with and the disco that's having to deal with the capitalist, patriarchal market and the demands of a show. However, Discovery has been the #1 streaming show. Wilson Cruz amplified this for the last couple of weeks. So the last couple of weeks, there's been momentum on the show. People have been streaming it on Paramount Plus, but it doesn't have the same kind of love and following as its spinoffs, including its first spinoff, Strange New Worlds, and I'm sure once we get the Michelle Yeoh Section 31 show. So I just hold the metaphor of the Lagrange point. It's actually helping me to realize, okay, that's how I can process some of my feelings about what is with this, where we are. Like, I love the show, y'all know, like, I love it, but I've just been having moments of like, this is our last season. So I understand the economics of it all and the reality, and then also, like, to name that we lived through a pandemia. We're living through pandemia still. They also then had to deal with a writer strike and an actor strike, which was really important because people need to be compensated for their likeness and their work and all the things. But I just see how it's just falling in this crack that Star Trek can't seem to get right about Black women-led shows. And how and just the politic of race and gender and class and who people want to root for. And we're seeing it not only in Discovery, we're seeing it in the WNBA right now, like just all the alls of that. So it's my big kind of highfalutin idea around Star Trek and around specifically Discovery. But it doesn't mean I love the show less. It just means I love it so much. I want to inquire about it. I want to be curious about it. And I want to be lovingly critical about it. So I'm gonna invite us to take a breath. Like, that was my big thought. But I know there was a lot of things that happened in this episode and around not only the plot, but like kind of where we are in the process of ending the show. So I'm gonna transition over to Claudia. I'm curious, as you were watching this episode, thoughts that you were having, things that are popping up for you.
Well, I'm loving the meta take that you just had on the show, because we're always looking at this show through several different lenses, right? Like, we're looking at it through the sort of Watsonian lens of, we're pretending like this is all real and the characters are real people and what's the perspective of why they're doing stuff. And then we're also looking at it in sort of like the Doylean perspective of, why did the writers make that happen? Like, why haven't we seen and it's because actors and stuff. So I love that we've got some LA folks here in this Trek table, and there's a cultural competency for how the show is made. So I was definitely watching this episode with that lens, partially because it felt like most of the time the episodes invite me to have a really deep conversation with myself, This one felt like it was setting up all the pieces for me to have a really satisfying conclusion. It made every character seemed very interesting and charming, and I would be very mad if they got killed. Like it felt like they were like, we're gonna ramp up the tension and have the characters moving around. And my only regret right now is that I am loving Maul's character right now. Maul working with the Breen is so smart, is so savvy. I respect Maul. I see my mama making a face, so I look forward to having a very friendly Star Trek fight with you about it. But I think that Maul understands how the Breen work, knows how to work, knows how to make things happen in that culture, has cultural competency with the Breen. And I just wish we had seen that aspect of her character because this episode had me comparing her with Michael and seeing and going, oh, I feel like there's similarities between you two, and I'm wishing I had seen more of that earlier. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. All right.
So it sounds like
That's my thought.
it sounds like it's authentically showing up for you in a way that Book was trying, like they were alluding to that with Book early. He's like, oh, they're in love and they're fighting against the world as couriers. Oh, like me and Michael. But now I hear that it's really resonating with you where Maul is in her character development.
Yeah, I need the show to not like sometimes the show tells me that there's a dynamic that I'm supposed to just be like, I'm supposed to go with it. I'm not that kind of audience member. I need to see the character actually demonstrate the aspect I am told the character has. And
Mhm.
finally, Maul is being the character they told me she was 5 or 6 episodes ago.
Okay. All right.
Ah.
There we go. I'm gonna come to you in just a second, Maya Mama. I want to actually jump over to Lulu because I know, as we look at this episode, I'm curious for you, kind of what's resonating. I mean, certainly you can jump in on stuff we've already brought up, but I also, Claudia gives us this on ramp around the setup we're getting, the character moment, and where we are in this series conclusion. Thoughts about this episode, Lulu?
Yeah, first off, I love what you all just shared. And this is part of the reason why I love this podcast. You bring in so many angles and lenses and filters that you're also viewing this show through. My biases and filters and lenses are very much informed by Spanish telenovelas, chaotic romance in Bollywood. So I'm always looking for love and like where that is. So the love story, I think, is a lot. The theme of loving another and navigating these interpersonal journeys that are complex. But in this episode specifically, seeing the like letting go of your lover over and over and over again in so many ways. Even when that means they're stepping into the ether, the unknown, right? Like Book saw Michael step into the unknown. What's gonna happen? Tarina looked over at Saru and he just jumped and volunteered for the mission, right? So in these examples, they're not always checking in with their boos, their lovers, their partners. But there is, not before making this big move, but there is a trust in the instincts of the other and in their kinetic needs to go when they have to go, with the hope that they'll return, right? Which is a lot like our love for Disco at this point.
Yes, yes. And I appreciate, I appreciate the bringing in of the telenovelas and the Bollywood. And I like, part of me is like, yeah, there's so many. I mean, we just got a Star Trek musical from Strange New Worlds. I was like, I could only imagine what we could do if we lived inside of the mind of Culber while he's trying to like resolve some stuff, right? Oh, that reminds me of something for later. Okay. Thank you, Lulu. Super excited. Okay. Maya Mama, I'm gonna come to you and then I'm gonna come to you, Courtney. Curious for you, Maya Mama, like, we did have a moment. I know that you and I lovingly tease each other about what's the best first kiss for Burnham and Ash, and loving on Burnham and Book. I'm curious your thoughts this episode connected to the love strain or other stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah, Michael seems to be like just like really in tune with herself because that even though it looked like Book, she was talking to herself. That was her. And she got like really in tune with herself. She trusts and believes in everyone. Like people are like, I have an idea. She's like, cool, go do it. Yes. Are you good enough? All right, come on the team. She seems to just be going with the flow. Like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm sorry about what happened with us previously. All right, let's do this thing. And I
Mhm.
just love that. And I love how Stamets, Paul is having to trust as well.
Mhm.
And he seems to be more and more trusting in the mission. Previously speaking, I would say that Paul Stamets was not necessarily a believer in the mission of Starfleet. He was there as a scientist, and he was there to make sure people didn't get hurt or whatever, but like he wasn't there for the mission. And like now he's there for the mission, and he knows that there are risks to him and the people that he loves, but he knows that like sometimes you just gotta go. And I just really I'm appreciating the maturity of him. And I also just wanted to mention that I really appreciated Saru calling out Tarina on her Vulcan supremacy. Vulcans are like this all the time, acting like they are the only people that know what logic is ever. And so I just appreciated like other people are allowed to use logic,
Mhm.
because I never really thought about the Vulcan logic gatekeeping, but it was very interesting. And I like how she went, "Oh, you're right." Um, the way that she like immediately was like, "Oh yeah, I am. That's not okay. I shouldn't do that."
Mhm.
And like again, mature, aspirational goals for relationships. Um, the way that they have banter. I just like love is a huge theme, but I think that ties into trust.
Mhm. Mhm. And is it just me, or did when he called her on it, did she not have extra like? Then it felt like she got gooey inside. She was like, "Oh,
Mm,
oh, that's
mm.
so. Call me out on my logic.
Oh,
I
are
like
you
it."
gonna tell me what? Okay. I'm not being
Mhm.
logic. Okay.
For sure, for sure. Courtney, I want to come to you. I know we've been talking about a lot of different things, whether it's this kind of meta idea about the Lagrange point in terms of how we enjoy the show, the relationships, and then just the function of kind of where we are in the season. I'm curious, what stood out to you from this episode? What's kind of got you thinking?
Well, this episode is kind of wrapping up like the entire season, which has really been about like learning to trust yourself and
Mm-hmm.
like the what's next question, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So this is really about solidifying the teams, you know, whether it be a couple, whether it be the entire crew, you know, like I really like the transition and change that the crew has had on Rayner. You know, like he is the one who has really kind of he was brought into a new team, not knowing any of these people. They're all touchy feely. They're all like, you know, as a captain who asks her crew their feelings and what their thoughts are, and does not just rule with like extreme power, but like rules as like a true democracy that she just happens to be their captain. So I think even
Mm-hmm.
seeing the growth in everybody else and how it has come to affect him has been such a profound uh, experience and really a testament to who Discovery is, you know, and everything that they've brought with them from like the 23rd century to, is it 23rd? That's where they came from, right?
Mm-hmm.
23rd to like this current universe, you know, this timeline. So, and they've shifted even the people in this timeline and the way Starfleet even saw itself. So, it's just really been a great run. And I'm really excited to see, you know, what's coming next.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you think that, well, yeah, I'm not gonna go off on a tangent because I see we are doing what Trek Table loves to do. We like to dig into all the things, and like I really appreciate that you're helping us kind of see this kind of the continuous build to the capstone of the season, right? And helping us also, you're helping me in my Lagrange point to move more towards the discovery that I love, and remembering the gravitational pull of that than to be distracted by how I feel about the other pull. So I thank you. We have gone through this segment, but I just want to really quick, I know we're going to go to final thoughts, but I'm curious, anybody else have a burning moment here in thematics, other things we didn't? Okay. And maybe we can actually go ahead.
I might have had a little thing. Well, One, I like that Ray Ray's just let Ray Ray be grumpy. He gets to be grumpy. But there was a thing that Claudia that you mentioned about loving how Maul is going
Oh
and
yeah.
how they are uh, uh, evolving, but I think that also in a lot of ways it doesn't make a lot of sense. They're trying to make her into a stand-in for Michael, but there's not a lot of, we only got a few episodes. It's the problem with the it's a 10 episode problem.
Yep.
So you're
Yep.
telling me who she is, but I don't buy it. How does Maul, who for most of this season we've been infantilizing,
Yeah.
when I found out she was old enough to actually be a married person, I was like, oh my gosh, that changes everything that I was thinking about her previously, that her and Locke are in an adult relationship. They're not like two crazy kids that ran away with each other. But at the same time, they've been increasingly infantilized. And then all of a sudden, she knows how to like run a ship. I mean, it makes sense that like she's like, tie a rope to the back of him and see if that works. That's something a kid comes up with. But that's all I got there.
I love
I'm
it.
not a fan of Maul. I
Not
wish
a
I
fan.
could.
Say that again, Courtney.
Said I'm not a fan of Maul. I don't really like the way their character written they're writing her. I think I agree with what my mama just said. Like it's like you have to decide, right? She's always like in a tantrum, like Maul this, and, lock this, and we're leaving, and I don't know what to do, and like we're leaving, and I'm having feelings, and no, I know what to do. I am the captain. I am the Primarch's wife, and come on, one note, one note. But yeah.
Okay. All right. And I know we have many, many, many more thoughts, as we always do. But for today, that was thematics for our season, for episode 509, Lagrange Point.
I can't hear Maya.
It's okay. So I'm going to go back and say we want to give a special shout out to a Trek Table friends assembled in the chat today while we were recording this episode. Y'all have been amazing. Want to get in the chats? Join us next Friday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific and 9:30 p.m. Eastern when we talk about the Star Trek Discovery episode. Season 5, Episode 10, Life Itself. It starts streaming on Paramount Plus Thursday, May 30th. And then I also want to say that we strive to hold space for Black, Indigenous, Brown women of color. Here are some resources that amplify and highlight the work of women in color content creators, community builders, and world shapers. Today we have 2 signal boosts.
Yes, yes. I'd love to amplify Octavia's Parables, a podcast where hosts Toshi Regan and Adrienne Marie Brown read the works of the great Octavia Butler one chapter at a time, bringing a modern analysis and scholarship to the work, and offering listeners guiding questions for applying the lessons in their own lives and community work. Check them out at www.readingoctavia.com for more info.
And we're gonna not do 2 signal boosts today. I had scripted that was my bad. But we'll have a special shout out next week. If you know of a woman of color content creator, like our friends over at the Octavia's Parables, if you know a content creator, community builder, or world shaper, we want to amplify them. Feel free to drop it in the chat or also reach out to us on Instagram at Trek Table. Okay, and as is the case at the end of every episode, we do final thoughts. I'm going to come to Courtney first. I'm going to let Courtney go. We rambled on at the Trek Table, and we have rambled through the time. So I want to let Courtney give us your last thought, and then we'll finish the horn. And Courtney, if you have to go, you can go.
I think pretty much like what I said just a moment ago about like the overall scope of what's happening is really my final feelings, but I am curious to see what Michael finds within that progenitor's barrel slash equipment, like what that means. Like, what does it mean that we got Rainer's tagline, let's do this? What does it mean for the rest of the crew? I'm really curious and excited to see how their journey concludes.
And I thank you so much, Courtney, for being here and staying with us as we rambled on through the time. We love and appreciate you so much.
Yeah, love you guys too.
For sure. See you soon.
Nice to meet you, Lulu.
Good to meet you. So.
Yes, yes. Curious about other folks' final thoughts. Lulu, are you ready for me to come to you? Could I come to you about your final thoughts for this episode 509, Lagrange Point?
Yeah. It's something my mama said earlier. Let Ray Ray be grumpy. I love that. And there was a tender moment with Tilly where, he's got a little grumpy posture, but there was also this tender moment of like, and I don't mind a little encouragement, So just a gentle reminder in our lives that when we're grumpy and when, loved ones are grumpy, like they still want love. They just, sometimes we have a complicated catty way of saying, love me.
I love it. I love it. Maya Mom, I'm going to come to you. Final thoughts. Lulu giving folks giving you shout outs. I love it. I love it. Your final thoughts.
Well, obviously it makes sense. He's so grumpy. He's been standing the whole time. I'm glad he finally sat down. Also, I do expect a kiss between Book and Michael by the end of the next episode. I demand it.
Yes.
Yes, I love it. I could go next. My final thought is connected to a news story I heard today. I just want to remember that in a previous episode this season, Colbert was dealing with all of his abuela feelings and he was trying to connect to her, and they created some grief tech to help him grieve her. I heard today on I think I was listening to NPR, that there is new tech being worked out through AI for people to enter information from their loved ones so that the chat GPT or like AI can actually do what Abuela Tech was doing in Discovery and create some kind of grief AI tool for you to continue to connect to loved ones who have passed.
Black Mirror. Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Oh, is that in Black Mirror too? Sometimes it's too scary for me to Black Mirror. My mind is very active, and sometimes the scary things are too scary because I make them
It's real
scarier.
scary.
But my final thought is just, I didn't love it. I didn't feel good about it when I saw the Abuela, hollow, and hearing that it's actually happening in the world. I'm just like, I mean, yes, to the disco writers who are pulling stuff out of our world and this intersection place, or I guess this Lagrange point. I'm gonna totally use that now forever. This Lagrange point of tension between the two things.
Yeah.
But I also want to honor that grief is real, and just like we are processing in real time about how we feel about this show, I also want to support people's grief process. I don't want to rob anybody of having extra time with loved ones. But I also want to encourage, at least the American culture that I participate in, to be able to be open to grief and to be able to name it and talk about it and feel it. And so yeah, I just feel like, yeah, I guess this is helping me process also how I'm feeling about this show. It's like I can be in my grief practice and grief process. And that, yeah, Chat GPT is scary to me, but
This just makes me want more episodes of Star Trek Discovery. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, they set up so many interesting ideas and they didn't have enough episodes to really go deep on them. We only have one episode left. I'm now remembering that I was forecasting all kinds of banana stuff that they could do with this progenitor tech. But yeah, the more the characters get into a space of like personal completion in all of these episodes, I'm getting more and more anxious because like that's what they're doing. They're just like, hey, Saru's getting married, huh? Oh, Michael and Book, they totally worked out their stuff and now they're happy. Everybody's happy. It's giving me cop one day from retirement trope because everybody's like, things are going great for everybody. Ray, I love me some Ray. So I'm feeling like they're setting me up. They keep mentioning all the bridge crew characters by name. They're just like you and you. And I'm like, oh, I'm worried about all of you, which is the exact right place for me to be to set me up for the final season, the final episode. I'm excited for it.
Yes, yes. And those are our final thoughts on Star Trek Discovery, episode 509, Lagrange Point. Yes, yes. And as we like to do here at the Trek Table, we want to end our show on gratitude that was witnessed by our favorite band, Quetzal. This podcast would not happen without not only witnesses, but really a village of support and work. I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us today at the Trek Table. You can get your first look at Trek Table questions, inside scoops, and more when you visit our website and sign up for the mailing list at trektable.com.
Trek Table graphics provided by our original graphics partner, Arthur Wong, and our new partner, Digital Click, a SoCal-based boutique marketing and design agency. Learn more about them at www.digitalclick.com.
Yes, yes. And you can like and subscribe, follow the Geekish Network on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For podcast subscriptions, you can also subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. Join Trek Table next Friday for the final episode of season 5 and the final episode of the series as we break it all down Friday night, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern, here on the Geekish Network.
Remember to like and subscribe to us on Instagram at Trek Table and YouTube at Trek Table. You can find the Trek Table podcast on Apple, Google, the high seas, wherever you get your podcasts.
And finally, I'd like to thank our Trek Table assembled here today to hold down this ritual. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, me. Thank you, Courtney Scott Wright. Thank you, Lulu Mutate. Thank you, Allison De La Cruz. And I just want to thank you all for sharing your insights and thoughts with us today. And thanks to all of you in the chat who have joined us. Last but not least, thank you, Rodney, our technical director today.
Trek Table executive producers, Allison De La Cruz, and our partners at the Geekish Network, Rodney Cahujo and Charles Babbs. Thank you.
For sure. And I do want to do deepest gratitudes and shouts out. Thank you so much. Thank you as well to Maya Mills Lowe, Claudia Alec, Lulu Matute, and Courtney Scott Wright. Thank you all for being here at this 5 Up today. And I just also want to give the deepest gratitude to our content partners at Calling Up Justice. Thank you so much.
Trek Table is a service mark of De La Projects, LLC.
Yes, and we want to say thank you to everybody for joining us at this Trek Table. We want to invite you to close this ritual for us today, with us today, as we take one more closing breath. Go ahead and take a breath in and out. Don't forget to watch that season finale next Thursday, and we will be holding Trek Space for you till next time. See you then.